Okay, so the pre-75 uses that double air supply system.
No.
But you're not, because emergency air supply constantly has air supply, but the primary does too to the spring side.
So when, okay, let's do it like this. Let me turn this off for a second. Let's talk through this. So my trailer air supply valve's right here, okay? When I push that valve in, that charges that emergency supply line. And that emergency supply line keeps that constant force of air. When you push that in, some of that air is diverted into the brake chambers. Some of that air is to fill up the air storage tank in the trailer, okay? The air that goes to the brake chambers is compressing your springs and your spring brakes, releasing your spring emergency parking brakes.
Okay, and my confusion is coming in on a pre-75. So
Pre-75.
that portion of it, there's no spring side on the pre-75.
You're right.
So
There's not.
So the emergency supply line on a pre-75.
It's supplying the air tank
Okay.
with air,
Okay.
which is supplying your brake system with air. Okay. So when you push this in and you supply that tank with air, when you pull this back out, that's going to apply that brake.
Right, because you're still talking pre-75?
Yes, pre-75. So it's a valve system, right? And that valve knows that when I pull this out to the emergency position,
It's going to activate the
it's going to pump air into that brake chamber to set that brake, that parking brake.
Okay.
And
that's only, now I got it. That's only going to last as long as there's air in that tank. Once you disconnect.
once you disconnect, it's just a matter of time before all that air leaks out.
Seeps out.
Yep.
But on after 75, the spring load, no air in that chamber. Springs are going to keep them brakes activated.
Exactly.
Got it.
Make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. So welcome to the truck, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All of our trucks are sleeper berths. We got a bench seat in the back. So 2 students will sit in the back. A student and instructor will sit up front. Your last 2 weeks here, when you're out in the road trucks, that's going to be what you're going to be with. 2 students in the back, 1 student up front with an instructor.
Okay.
Okay. 3-on-1 situation. Okay. This is an automated transmission truck, and this is our gear selector. You guys happen to notice any letters that might be missing?
Park.
Yes. You never, ever, ever leave a truck in gear. You always put a truck in neutral, and you apply your parking brake.
Okay.
You know, manual, automated, automatic. You always leave a truck in neutral and apply the parking brake. Okay. Never leave it in gear. All right. We talk about when we're doing the drop and hook, when we're doing the coupling and uncoupling, that once you're connected, you have to have enough room between the frame of the tractor and the trailer support so you can make turns that they don't come in contact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Part of the way you do that is with this. This button is for your sliding fifth wheel. On this truck, the fifth wheel is adjustable. So while I'm connected to a trailer, I can hit this button. That button is going to use air pressure to pull the locking pins out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can drive the truck forwards or backwards, depending on where you need the fifth wheel to be. And then you hit that again, turn them off, and the air pressure will push those pins back into place, locking the fifth wheel into position. Most of the time you're going to be doing that for weight. Sometimes you're going to be doing it for clearances. Okay.
Okay.
This one here is for your air ride suspension.
Okay.
You can raise and lower the rear end of the tractor. Okay. This one here is a differential lock. It's kind of like 4-wheel drive for a truck. Both of those axles back there don't typically have power at the same time. Only one does. So if you're in deep snow, loose dirt, loose gravel, and you need some more power, while you are stopped, you can hit that. That's going to lock in that second differential, give you the power you need to get out. Okay?
Yeah, I saw a truck at rest area on Highway 97 using that. Didn't do them any good, but they were trying.
Well, you know, sometimes that's all you can do is try.
Yeah.
This is your trailer hand valve, trailer hand brake, your trolley valve, or Johnson bar. This has absolutely nothing to do with your truck. If you're not connected to a trailer and nothing's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That only affects the service brakes on your trailer. And when you guys were back there watching the push rod and slack adjuster work, listening for the brakes, this is what I was using. I was applying those brakes, and then I was letting them release.
Okay.
All right. Here's your parking brake. There's your trailer air supply valve. This lever here runs your windshield wipers and washers. This one here, do you guys want to take a guess what that might be?
Speed for your wipers? No. No clue.
I have no
Your
guess.
retarder. Your engine
Oh.
brake. Your exhaust brake.
Oh, it's right there. So
Yep.
they're trying to set everything up so you don't have to take your eyes off the road.
Right.
You need to, I would need to be very familiar with the truck I'm in.
Yeah. Yep.
But are most trucks set up similar? They're going to be
Most trucks, it's a toggle switch.
So non-adjustable.
Some trucks, it's going to be up here.
So the ones with the toggle switch is non-adjustable then.
No, some of them are. What you'd have is you'd have an on and an off.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, it's literally on or off. Some of them, you have an on and off, and then you'd have another toggle switch. One position would be high, the other position would be low.
Okay.
Some of them, you have a high, a medium, and a low.
Okay.
Right? Different truck, different manufacturer, different setups.
So you're setting that up different, say you're coming down off the Siskiyous. But your transmission's already, your transmission's supposed to be doing a lot of the work. That's supposed to be picking up most of the rest, and your brakes are just temporary. They're third
Yes. So you're going to downshift, right? You need to lower that gear down
before you start.
before you start down, and you turn your retarder on.
And you're going to adjust that by how steep a grade you're getting ready to go down.
Yeah, you can adjust that on the fly. If you start going down a grade and you realize, oh, I don't need that much retarder, turn it down.
And vice versa.
Yeah, and if you're going down a grade and you're like, oh boy, I need some more, turn it up.
Answer my question before I ask it, if I can adjust it as I go.
Yep, just flip it as wherever you need it.
To maintain that 5 mile an hour window.
Yeah, you just need to figure out where it needs to be set so that you can go down that grade safely. And if it's set real good and you're slowing down to 40 and it takes you a while to get to 40, great. Tap those brakes, slow down to 35. Allow it to just slow you, right? If you still got another intensity, you can go turn it up another click. Maybe you won't even have to touch the brakes.
Yeah, if I'm going from 35 to 40
Yep.
real fast,
Then you're going to want to turn that son of a bitch
Yeah.
up real high.
and if it's holding at 35, which probably won't if I got a full load,
It all depends on the grade. It might. And if it's holding at 35, leave it alone.
gotcha.
Just float on down the mountain.
I say the Siskiyous because that's probably one of the biggest
That's,
ones.
yeah, that old boy's a humdinger and then some.
So I noticed on the transmission shifter, you got reverse, neutral, drive, I'm guessing, and then what's M?
Manual.
Manual. And then
So if
how would
you're-
you shift?
There's a toggle right up here,
Okay. All right, I see it.
right? So if I'm getting ready to go down a grade, I'm going to put this in manual, and then I'm going to drop a gear.
Okay.
And I'll show you how you know what gear you're in once we get the truck running.
Okay.
It
Okay.
should be on the dash, right?
It is. There's an indicator on the dash. It's different, though. So I'll show you where that's at.
Okay.
This is your door handle. You push that up, it locks the door. If you pull it back towards you, it opens the door.
Okay.
All right. Down on the floorboard here, we got a funny looking little foot pedal. You guys see that?
Yep.
Looks kind of like an emergency brake foot pedal, right?
Yeah.
We know it ain't because there's no mechanical brakes on here.
That's right. That is used for your steering column,
Oh, nice.
right? And if you drive a Kenworth, it sits about right here and you get about this much movement. I'm going to put this one back here, set it there because it makes it easier for you guys to see stuff. Here's your headlight controls.
Okay.
There's your four-way flashers, just like on your personal car, right? Nothing real different there. And over here's your turn signal and high beams, just like on your personal car.
Okay.
All right. Now I'm going to turn the key on so you guys can see some stuff on the dash here. So first off, I told you that there's an indicator to tell you what gear you're in. And once, there it is. Right there's your indicator.
All right.
Right. You can stand up if you want, because there's room.
The indicator showing neutral.
When we get ready to start the air brakes test, I'll let you know so that you can start your camera thing.
Oh, it's already going.
Oh, okay. So that's where you can tell what gear you're in. Okay. Over here on the right-hand side, there's 3 gauges. The top gauge is labeled A. And if you watch that gauge, when I apply the brake, that gauge goes up.
Yeah.
When I release the brake, the gauge goes down. That is your application pressure gauge. It tells you how much air pressure you're applying to the brake when you apply the brake.
Okay.
The next gauge down, that is one of your supply pressure gauges. That one is labeled F. That would be your front or your primary supply pressure gauge.
Okay.
The one below that is R. That would be your rear or secondary supply pressure gauge.
Okay.
All right. Those gauges just tell you how much air pressure you have in your air storage tanks.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to get ready to start an air brakes test. So I'm going to start the engine up, and we got to build our air pressure up to the cutout. What's the cutout?
100 to 125.
125 is your cutout.
The range is 100 to.
Yep, the cut in happens at about 100. The cut out happens at about 125. Now remember, the cutout is not a number on a gauge. It's an audible sound that you're going to listen for.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm going to start the truck. I'm going to roll down the window, make it a little easier to hear. I'm going to add some throttle to make it happen a little faster. And I'll let you guys know when to start listening for it. It won't be too long here.
It's building pressure
Pretty quick.
steady.
Yep. All right, let's start listening for it. That's our cutout. So now we're going to turn the engine off. We're going to turn the key back to the on position.
So they activate the gauges.
Yep. And now we're going to release our brakes. We need to wait for our air pressure to normalize. That means these valves stop hissing and our needles stop dropping. Okay? If our air pressure had normalized and we were in a straight truck and we set a timer for 1 minute without the brakes applied, in 1 minute's time in a straight truck, we cannot lose more than how many PSI?
2.
That's right. You can't lose more than 2. And in a straight truck, if I was to make a full brake application, set this timer for 1 minute, in that minute in a straight truck, you can't lose more than
3.
3 PSI. In a combination vehicle like this, without the brake applied in 1 minute, you can't lose more than
3.
And if we were to time out a full brake application for 1 full minute, we cannot lose more than
4.
4 PSI.
Pretty easy numbers.
Pretty easy numbers, right? So, yay, we passed the leaks test. What's our next test?
It's going to be, you're going to be applying the brakes to bleed off to make sure that the spring loads go on.
Nope, not quite yet.
Warning.
Warning light. We need to make sure that our low air warning comes on. That's really, really important thing to check.
And that's around 60.
It has to come on before you drop below 60. That's what the book says, right? It's not true, but that's the way you guys have to learn it for the book, okay? So I'm going to step on and off the brake pedal. Let's see when this one comes on. If I hit the right pedal. So if you look, we got a red light here, a red light there, and a red stop triangle. That's our low air warning. If you also look, our computer display tells us that we have a low air system.
Okay.
Okay? So our low air warning came on in an appropriate amount of time. What's our next test?
Continue pumping the brakes to see when the emergency brakes come on.
Yes, we have to test our spring emergency brakes. We're going to drop air pressure until both of these valves pop out. During this test, it's absolutely critical that you stare at these valves until they both pop out. They don't necessarily pop out at the same time, and they don't necessarily have a positive sound when they pop out.
Okay.
So the gauges are irrelevant until those pop out.
Okay.
Once those pop out, then you can check your gauges, all right? So let's see when they're going to pop out for us.
They pop together.
They both popped out, and they popped out at 23 psi. That's between 20 and 45, right?
Mm-hmm.
Typically, it happens between 20 and 30, but it has to happen between 20 and 45 psi. So our spring brakes came on when they're supposed to. So our next test, we'd start the engine back up.
Mm-hmm.
We'd allow air pressure to build up to 85. Once we got to 85 psi, we would set a timer for 1 minute. And at an idle, we have to build air pressure from 85 to what?
145 seconds.
Within
wasn't it?
45 seconds, yes. I said set the timer for 1 minute, didn't I?
Yep.
All right, get off my ass. Nobody bats 1,000 every time, you guys. Jeez. So, yeah, it's 85 to 100 within 45 seconds.
I thought that was actually a test. You could have played it off.
I should have played it off. Dang it, I missed my opportunity.
Then I would have failed the test and blamed you.
So, this helping make more sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Good. You guys have any questions?
No.
You feel pretty good on that?
Yep.
Good.
Especially after I watched the video all night.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys, please go ahead and exit the truck. Make sure you